Hey everyone. So, big story in the news today about the algorithm maybe being on trial. You've been probably reading, I have, about the consumer protection case that's just got underway against Meta in the US, or at least the trial has. Looking at it, it raises similar issues that we've seen before, but I don't find myself thinking about one platform. What I think we're seeing here are lots of separate conversations gradually move into or merge into a bigger one, because for years, whenever social media companies found themselves under any kind of scrutiny or pressure, the argument was usually around content, around the stuff that you come across when you're on those platforms, something that had been posted, something that shouldn't have been posted, more importantly, what the platforms are going to do about it, because it was something that, in their view, it should have been taken down. That was a battleground that we fought for a very, very long time through riots, civil disturbance, any number of abuse scandals. But this is starting to feel different. And I think that because regulators and governments aren't waiting around anymore to take an interest in these systems, they're already trying to do something about it. Firstly, you've got this major consumer protection case in the US. You've then got ongoing disputes in the UK and Europe around with regulators, with platforms, potential also through the courts, through profiling, use of personal data, behavioural advertising. And in the EU, you've got the EU AI Act that frames questions around accountability, transparency, behavioural influence, moves it further up the agenda. Then, of course, you've got governments around the world introducing, or at least thinking about, restrictions for younger users on social media because of child safety concerns, engagement recommendation engines, and the way that social media affects children and teenagers, their behaviour, in the same way as it may affect adults as well. Australia has already taken action. We're seeing that here in the UK, although the debate is very much a live one. Meta itself has had to deal with these kind of issues before. They've had to abandon plans for a product aimed at younger children under 13s following intense criticism around child safety issues. None of these are identical. We're looking at different countries, we're looking at different regulators, we're looking at different legal issues and different legal claims potentially, but they're not unrelated anymore. I think they're connected by a web of expectation now. I spent a lot of my time working with agencies, brands, creators. Obviously, I'd find myself thinking about that because we have all become incredibly used to the way that these platforms work. Those businesses, those creators have become used to the way that they work. The algorithm finds you an audience, content gets recommended, advertising gets more targeted based on that. Creators reach people who've never even heard of them before. Brands in particular build communities, build followings, build credibility, and agencies optimize campaigns. It's becoming so normal that we barely think about it anymore. It's just facts of life. But users, I think, now are really starting to think about it, about the societal impact of all of this. Parents certainly are thinking about it in the wake of tragedies such as Molly Russell and Ellen Room's case involving her son. Politicians are thinking about it, regulators are thinking about it, and courts are increasingly being asked to think about it as well. So will we see the same kind of claim over here? We are seeing a case at the Competition Appeals Tribunal over the algorithm at the moment, but I don't think it's necessarily about whether Meta wins or loses this particular case. I think it's about whether or not we're moving into a period where society is less interested in the content and far more concerned about the systems underneath it. I'm aware of the irony of posting that on here. So they're not thinking about posts, they're not thinking of videos, they're not thinking about comments, they're thinking about the machinery deciding what they see next. Because if that is where this is heading and the users seem to want it that way, society seems to want it that way, it's not a story about one company, it's a story about the future of the attention economy, how we participate on it, and the reciprocal effect that it has on us. And I think we're only at the beginning of that conversation. Cheers.